I guess what have you thought of what has maybe his improvement been to kind of get these kicks to fall the last few games?
Yeah, I think it's just consistent in practice, and that carried over onto the field on game day. Pretty pressure kicks 2 weeks ago, so that was great to see out of him. But just being consistent in practice and carrying it over, I think, is the biggest thing.
I guess what does that say about him? I mean, he gets the job taken over by someone else, doesn't kick for a few weeks, and then steps in and is ready to go.
Yeah, just again, a veteran guy that understands that he had a job to do and kind of own that, and I think just refined his craft a little bit and made sure that his next opportunity he was going to make start making those kicks.
Is there anything he changed up to get back to what y'all expected him to be doing?
Not really. I mean, we have a little bit of different kind of practice schedule for those guys. A little more of a kind of a game simulation script and practice instead of just kind of drill work. Still with some drills incorporated, but just trying to make that more realistic for those game situations. But really not too much. It's just him kind of focusing in and doing his job.
Not just him, but the guys, the snap, the hole, things like that. What needed refining during the course of the season to make that work?
Yeah, just also those combinations of the guys. We used two different kickers and two different holders at that point, and just finding the right three guys, and then really investing reps in those guys. And I think the ones we found now kind of settled in and getting some good work together.
Have you ever had a guy have to re-kick something, I think now a total of 3 times so far in 2 games?
Unbelievable. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I don't think I've seen 2 timeouts, kick it 3 times. That's something you talk about too is if they call a timeout and try and ice you, do you want to kick the ball or not? So obviously Massimo wants to, but I made the first 2 and I'm like, the law of averages, I hope you just give me that same kick one more time, which you did. So yeah, that was interesting to say the least.
Koenig's been a little bit of an adventure here as of late. What have you noticed about that?
Yeah, just I think the same thing. They've got to clear mind, focus, and just do their job because they've done it for probably that first half of the season pretty well. But they just need to relax, go out there, and the play is not all it's not all on their shoulders. Right, it doesn't be a perfect punt. We've got some great cover guys in that unit, and they go out there and just put the ball in play and let us go make a play down there. So I expect them to have a great week this week.
With Xavion, is that something you guys saw in training camp right away, or how he handled practice, or is that something he's developed over during the season?
Yeah, I think he's, I think the minute he walked in the door, we knew he was an explosive guy, really good ball skills. That, was one thing. And then not afraid of big moments. I think his first game he was in was the LSU game, and we were trying to bring him along as fast as we could, to being a true freshman. But, I think you kind of see some of that, and you just try and keep developing him, and then kind of took that and ran with it a little bit.
I guess what was kind of going through your head on that punt return against Georgia? I mean, first it bounces in front of him, and then he picks up and go. I mean, did you know that he could play it off the bounce there?
Yeah, he made a nice play. The previous one was kind of saving some yards and had I think he had an 8-yard return the time before that. So if he at least did that, that's we talk about it in game plan type of thing to make sure that we're not losing yards on rolls. But yeah, that was a great job by him, kind of fielding, making a guy miss too initially. Our guys, they were kind of in a max protection look because they were backed up at the end of the half. Thought we were going to come after it, and we called the return instead, and kind of just made it look like we were going to come after it, and kind of hold them at the line of scrimmage, and then Xavion kind of did the rest. So
at the time, that's a big play against the number 1 team in the nation. We made it close at halftime. What's it like, having a young guy have that type of moment, at a home stadium?
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm sure he was loving it. So it's something he can build on. Something that at the true freshman doing that. I'd like to see next year and the year after, and just keep developing.
Is it a surprise now teams even dare kick off to Tulane?
I'm not surprised myself. I should do what I should say, but yeah, we're trying to get him the ball anytime they kick it. So whether it be a cross kick or short kick, we're going to figure out ways to make sure he's the one touching it. But yeah, if it was me, I probably wouldn't kick it to him. But yeah.
When you have a guy like that with so much electric ability, do you try to refine it, coach, or just let him do what he does?
Nah, you let it eat a little bit. Yeah, he's kind of got the leeway to the cut. We tell him where the cut's supposed to be, but he sees something he likes. He's got the green light to just go. Because him going full speed, he's going to make it right. And our guys in front of him have done a nice job to kind of getting him loose a little bit, but he does the rest.
And how much that comes down to the blocking, because like on Xavion's, you had some key blocks from all over the field, some that didn't even get noticed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, punt returns probably a little bit different. You got to make sure everybody's kind of covered up. On a kick return, I think he can make 1 or 2 of those guys. Even though they're in position to make a play, not make that play. And Xavion too. Xavion made a guy miss as well. So, but yeah, it starts up front with those guys. They got to do a good job and understand that we got an opportunity to score every time those guys are back there.
I know you're not working, directly with the running backs this year, but what's it like seeing in that game against Auburn a guy like Woody kind of get the game-winning score there? Having worked with him so close in the past.
Love it, man. And he deserves it. He's just such a hard worker, and it's great to see him kind of get that get that to finish off the game like that. He's got this on punt team for us, man. Does an awesome job. So I love Woody, man. That's good stuff.
I guess what kind of response are you seeing maybe from your group this week coming off a loss?
Oh, we got guys in the program who they like to come out and play ball and go to work. So anytime you're coming off a loss, you want to get that taste out of your mouth. And so we've had a good week of work.
Coach Leach was talking about a bit on Monday. The 2 games you guys have in about a 10-day span or so. I guess how do you maybe divide up the work a bit? Preparing a bit for Ole Miss, but also preparing for this week.
It's kind of the normal routine here, right? I mean that span. So I think you know about that. You're prepared for it. So
You stepped out of SEC play, but you're going to see a pretty big-time running back this week. What are your thoughts about that?
yeah, they've done a nice job. Rose for 175 yards a game. He does a good job of when the seam's up inside, hitting it and splitting the defense. But if it gets a little muddied up, he has the ability to bounce it and get on the perimeter. So yeah, we better be ready to tackle him.
You look at a team like them too. They, fairly balanced, I guess you could say. I mean, how would you kind of describe what they do offensively?
I think there's a lot of similarities personnel-wise and formationally what we've seen the last couple weeks. 11 personnel, 12 personnel, got downhill power run game, play action pass off of it, boot game. So I mean, I think there's some similarities. And then actually there's some similarities in some of their play concepts to what we'll see next week too. So it's a good matchup for us in terms of seeing plays we've seen and then what we might see.
I noticed where Cam got an invite to the Senior Bowl. He's been pretty steady for you the past couple of years, obviously. What have you seen from him that his traits could carry to that next level?
Big guys inside who can hold the point of attack and two gap and play both gaps at the same time they're pretty rare and they're very valuable. And so I'm fired up that he's getting the recognition he deserves, and I know he'll go out there in Mobile and put on a performance and open a lot of eyes, and would not be surprised to hear that his draft stock is soaring afterwards.
Kind of beside him, Jaden Crumedy, it's almost kind of like picking up a free agent this late in the year to get a guy that fresh on the defensive line. How different have you seen him being fresh?
Yeah, I just think since his return, there's been an increased physicality in our front play. Both in our stunts, when we're moving around, and then just kind of in general at the point of attack. And so, yeah, I mean, anytime you got a 2-year starter who goes out and then you get him back, you're going to see an improvement. And so we're fired up to have him back. We certainly need him.